Ooh, do we have a good matchup here on the road in the Big 12 for you today. Breaking it all down on the AZ Wildcats podcast pre-game show. Stick around, leave a like, don't go anywhere.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by the fine folks over at Circle K. I am, of course, Damon Fairall, a.k.a. Damon Dog. He's Kevo Post, a.k.a. Kevin Thomas. I guess I did that a little bit backwards, but we are the AZ Wildcats podcast, and we are live from PHNX HQ3 here in lovely, beautiful downtown Phoenix. Nice weather today, Kevin, after a cold one yesterday, and excited to be talking about some Arizona Wildcats basketball as the #1 team in the country. And don't get that twisted, the #1 team in the nation takes on the TCU Horned Frogs today. Of course, I say that because Michigan just sustains its first loss against Wisconsin just a matter of moments ago. That was at home, I believe, at Michigan, Kevin. So we will not be hearing how Michigan is the rightful #1 team in the country, hopefully when it's all said and done after this weekend. But of course, we got our own game to be talking about today. Kevin, how are we doing? How are we living? And how are we feeling after such a huge loss in the world of the Arizona Wildcats, despite it not even being in our own conference?
Man, what a day. We've had some great basketball on here this morning, Damon, led off by some great transfer portal stuff going on even earlier in the morning from the Arizona football side of things. And above all else, we are all Badgers today. Whatever their little hand sign is, throw it up. Whatever their little saying is, shout it from the rooftops. Michigan, as Lost Highway says, is cooked.
I don't want to. Do I have to like Wisconsin or root
for
them?
At least 16 hours. After that, you can go back to the way you felt prior.
Kevin, I know.
But they did. An enemy of my enemy is my friend, Damon. And for today, they are our friends. Tomorrow, we return to our normal combative state with the Wisconsin Badgers. But an enemy of my enemy is my friend. And today, they are our friends. They did the Lord's work, got Michigan up out the paint. And now I can stop hearing about, oh, well, if you look at the metrics and if you look at my custom model that I built with AI, it shows that Michigan's the best team in the last 50 years. I don't give a damn. When I watch Arizona, that's the best team in the country. When I watch Michigan, that's a really damn good team, but not the best team in the country. So yes, Damon, we will celebrate the Wisconsin Badgers today because they did the Lord's work and they got Michigan out the paint and we can stop worrying about them.
All right, stop yelling at me. Maybe you should have saved that one for shots fired, Kevin. You said you couldn't really think of anything. Maybe we should have just gone all at Michigan after that because you had a lot right deep here in the soul that you had to get off your chest. But I will say, not to pull this card because I rarely do, and I do respect all of our Arizona Wildcats brethren. We are all the same, and we are all one. But I will say, Kevin, as a youngin that was in St. Louis, Missouri, at the time of those back-to-back Elite Eight losses, I don't know if you can tell me, as a man whose childhood was ruined by the Wisconsin Badgers, to ever root for them. You were not as much of a Wildcats guy back in those days. It genuinely ruined my life. The 2014 and 2015 March Madness tournaments were life-altering, life-shattering moments for me and for young Wildcats fans everywhere who were sitting there going, this is the year. There's no way this team, one of these two teams, doesn't make a Final Four. And then the second year, they said, hey, we know you guys just lost to these guys on a last-second, I guess no buzzer beater attempt if you're Nick Johnson because you just dribble out the shot clock in the Elite Eight with the biggest moment of all time on the line. But then you go into the next year and they go, oh, you guys are a 1 seed. That's cool. By the way, the 2 seed in your bracket, none other than the guys that just beat you last year who are scarring you for life. And you're like, okay, this will certainly end well. Feels bad to root for Wisconsin basketball, but I will say that did feel pretty good today with Michigan losing, just to get them off our back a little bit more so.
Man, it felt so good to get them off our back, for them to have especially a loss that felt like it was some games coming now. They've been playing pretty mid for some time now. They got done dominating the non-conference, got into Big Ten play, and have kind of sputtered out of the gate. So we'll see how Michigan ends up, but I'm happy that they can drop from number 1 in KenPom, and I can stop having people screenshot that and be like, are you sure that the AP number 1 team is actually the number 1 team? Yes, because when Arizona takes the floor tonight, the number 1 is going to be next to their name. And when Michigan takes the floor next time, damn sure ain't going to be a number 1. Probably ain't going to be even number 2 next to their name. Who knows? Who knows what number is going to be next to your name? But when you're winning, it's pretty damn predictable, Damon. Arizona has TCU today, and that is the purpose. That's why we're all gathered here in this live stream and talk about Arizona versus TCU.
Do you think that KenPom moved Iowa State above Arizona in preparation for Michigan losing this Saturday? Like, hey, guys, we know Michigan's going to lose. We know they're going to drop a little bit in these rankings, but guys, we got to have someone above the Arizona Wildcats going into next week. They unequivocally cannot be number 1. That's the only KenPom rule I'm pretty sure that's going on right now, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, KenPom, honestly, I'm kind of a KenPom fan usually. I like using it as like a basis for this year. I don't know what the hell Kenny's doing. He's tripping. Kenny's not watching the games. Kenny's lost it. All the algorithm's gone to his head. He needs to start watching these games because he'll learn a lot from doing so, Damon. But yeah, no, as Max says in the chat, that Adam Schefter tweet, ooh.
That was triggering.
Ooh, it rubbed me the wrong way.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I don't like any of those news guys. Like, I've said that before. I don't care if this is public, if this is out there. Rappaport, Schefter, they're all bums, dude. And they're all like just not really the most likable of people when you meet them in real life. I've tried to get Ian Rappaport. Go look at the content. I put it in the end. He told me no when I asked him to answer a simple question for me at the Super Bowl media day. And he big timed me. So I'm like, all right, bro, you're Mr. Big Time. Cool. Then I'm going to talk my crap about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Schefter, same way. Like, all these news guys are just such dorks. Remember Rosenthal when he tripped over that guy who fell during the baseball season and he was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And yeah,
he was pretty pissed.
You're like, what's wrong with you, dude? That's not how normal humans react. All these guys are so big time. So whatever. Screw you, Schefter.
Yeah, Adam Schefter. And for AZ Cat Dan, who does not know what Adam Schefter had to say, Adam Schefter went to his Twitter and tweeted something along the lines of, let me pull it up. I had it right here. He said, it's a new year. This is January 1st. This is what's on his mind. It's a new year. Indiana has the number 1 football team and Michigan has the number 1 basketball team. In what fantasy world are you living in, Adam Schefter? In what mega mansion did you wake up in that you have your custom streaming TVs going and you got Michigan as the number 1 team? I don't know what type of AI you got scrolled into that told you that, but it was never true. It never happened. It never was. It just simply never was. But we do have an actual game on our hands today, and it is an opponent that really could have us in a position of where Michigan was. They could beat Arizona. TCU could. They are a very good team. Very well coached as well by Jamie Dixon. And I think that this is a team that, if we're talking about tough road opponents, TCU has got to be in that top half of the list for certain. Their resume kind of speaks for itself. They've lost 4 games by a combined 14 points. One of those games is to Michigan. They lost by 4. That Kansas game, realistically, is not a positive for them. It's something that they really should have been able to finish. They were up by as many as 16 in the second half and by 15 with under 5 at Kansas and then lost in overtime. So that's not really a flex. But my point is, with all of this, is that, yes, their resume is scattered with pretty good opponents, and they have played up to their opponent's level every step of the way. Arizona, I do not expect to be any different in that regard. I think that TCU is going to come out here and absolutely give Arizona a test. Now, how long that test lasts, how long it takes until Arizona gets all the answers, I don't know. But TCU is definitely not a team to overlook. As I put out on Twitter earlier this week, do not sleep on the Horned Frogs, despite some of their shortcomings, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, they're a top 50 KenPom team. They, are a projected tournament team. They play really good defense. Like this is a solid opponent for sure. And certainly one that you have to take seriously when you're on the road specifically, when you're traveling to their house, when it's in Fort Worth, Texas. Like this is not, like if it was in Tucson, I'd feel very comfortable with this game, Kevin. I'd be sitting here being like, yeah, we got this in the bag. No worries. But I think the road component of things makes me be like, okay, you have to take this game extremely seriously and treat it as if it's an opponent that is of your caliber, because I do think that with that home crowd behind them, and if they do get a good shooting night, like this is the type of team that could take down an Arizona squad. So I mean, this is certainly a challenge for Arizona. Maybe the first challenge since what, Alabama? Like it really hasn't felt like Arizona has had much of a challenge recently. I whenever I go to work, like I'm telling my roommates, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, later guys, like got to go talk about another 25-point Arizona victory tonight. Like I think we might actually get to talk about a very competitive basketball game tonight, and for that I'm thankful.
Yeah, no, TCU 8-3 at home, and I think that is an important aspect in this. Arizona going on the road for this one. TCU has won 5 straight home games, and like I said, their 4 losses this year by a combined 14 points. 2 of those coming in overtime, and as Damon said, this is definitely a team that is going to be challenging Arizona for the first time in a long time, right? And if Arizona is going to get this done, Damon, they're definitely going to have to play one of their better games so far this season, just because you're in the Big 12 now. This is not non-conference. There are no really nights off, maybe outside of like Cincinnati, but there are genuinely like no nights off in this conference.
ASU.
Yeah, ASU, yeah, to a lesser extent as well there as with them, but even like Colorado, Damon, who I don't think is very good. I've seen them in person at the Hall of Fame series, and I did not think they were very good. They rank very highly with the metrics and the analytics. So, like, even though bad teams are good, TCU, you got to respect them, man. They are, as we went over yesterday, these are some of their weaknesses right here. One of them is size, right? But I don't want you to think that just because one of their weaknesses is size that this team plays small, right? That they are going to immediately be overpowered by Arizona, which is possible. It is possible that Arizona could come out here possession one and look like the bigger, stronger team, and it lasts for the whole 40 minutes. But TCU, do not sleep on their ability to, A, protect the rim, and B, play above their size. Like, as we looked at some of their strengths here as well, right there is blocking shots. That rim protection is incredible. They're top 10 in the country in block percentage. They are very good at punching above their weight. Pardon the David Punch reference there, but yeah, this team likes to get out in transition, likes to block shots, and likes to turn you over. And if you're Arizona, the frivolous turnovers you cannot have today, especially on the road, especially against TCU, because they'll make you pay. They really will.
Yeah, they're a team, certainly that you have to respect and take seriously going into this one. But Kevin, I want to get into some shots fired here and really start this pregame show with a bang. Shout out shots fired. Shout out our friends over at Three Amigos Tequila for presenting this segment. We love our friends over at Three Amigos Tequila, Arizona's favorite tequila. But Kevin, I need to send some shots at the way of one Eddie Lampkin, because brother, I'm never gonna get over that. What was it, 2023 tournament?
I think so.
Where obviously he had himself maybe the game of his entire life, and he let you know about it on every single time that he ran back down on defense on the other side of the court. Now, was he over-celebrating while Christian Koloko was outplaying him, also playing efficient offense and basically not missing a shot because Eddie Lampkin is such a turnstile? Absolutely. But Eddie was still freaking doing some of this, running back, like doing too small to everybody the entire game. And then what happened? Ben Mathurin dunked on him, took his soul, Monstar style. And then Eddie went and finished out his 8-year college basketball career at Colorado and Syracuse. Now what's he doing? It's funny because he was so active on social media, Kevin, when he was playing college basketball. The guy would not miss an opportunity to retweet his highlights or, maybe one of the good games that he has. But now he's MIA. I just checked his Twitter account. He's not tweeting anything. His last tweet is from the freaking tournament that they did in Vegas or whatever, that because Syracuse couldn't make the real tournament or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not keeping up with Drewski's basketball career, but Eddie Lampkin, you're a bum. TCU, Your fans were ridiculous after that game. I still remember that. I don't hate TCU fans in general. In fact, I've broken bread with them, I would say, Kevin, as I've traveled out there to watch some games in the past, and even was wearing purple out there at Sun Devil Stadium this year when Arizona State was taking on TCU with the boys, rooting for Josh Hoover just for him to lay an absolute egg in the second half. Good luck at Indiana next year, my guy. But Eddie Lampkin, you're a bum. I hate you. I'll hate you forever. The tournament is great because you come up with weird rivalries like this where you're just like, man, I hate that Eddie Lampkin dude, and I'll never forget his name. I'll be on my deathbed being like, screw Eddie Lampkin. And for that, shots fired, brother.
Salud. Shout out to everybody in the chat with this shots fired. Let us know where your shots fired is. Shout out to Sheila Chavez, who is the Sheila from post-game a couple nights ago that was referenced by Saul. And Sheila did comment, like, thank you for making the correction and getting my name correctly.
Sheila, we love you.
Yes, we do.
We're sorry Saul screwed that up. We're just going to make him wear it. But Sheila, we are so happy for you. And that was honestly one of the most like incredible, rewarding stories to hear from something like this. Obviously, we didn't play a part in your recovery, but it's so cool to hear things like that, to hear that, maybe we could just provide a little bit of an escape from the realities of life from time to time, because that's all what it's all about, Kevin. We just want to talk sports. We want to have a good time. And I'm going to make my jokes and talk ish about Eddie Lampkin.
Well said, Damon. Well said. And I'm going to take my shot because I feel left out of the party. I would like to consume some Ramona's Reserve from our friends over at Three Amigos Tequila in my patented Three Amigos Tequila shot glass. I had a plan to come in here and tell you guys, hey, look, TCU, my shots fired is at your schedule, because your schedule has people thinking that you're a serious basketball program, and I'm here to tell you that no, Arizona is not Michigan. No, Arizona is not Wisconsin. No, Arizona is not Baylor. No, Arizona is not Kansas. They're the Arizona Wildcats. They're the #1 team in the nation. You better tell somebody that you need some help because they're coming to your house to take over. And that was going to be the whole thing. But now that Michigan's taken this fat L, and Edgar, yes, we did, but we might just do it again for another 10 seconds because my shots fired is at you, Michigan. You paper tiger, paper Wolverine losers. Fraudulent frauds up there in Ann Arbor. Good basketball team, not an all-time great basketball team. My shots fired is at them. Salut to the frauds in Ann Arbor. Arizona, #1 team in the country. They wish they could have Kenny Dillingham from ASU. This state kind of runs Ann Arbor, is what I'm really trying to say. Never want to visit there in my life. Salut.
Honestly, probably a fact. Never want to visit there in my life, though, is crazy. Noah Wolbricht might need to hear about that at some point.
I don't know how to swim. What am I going to a lake for?
The Michigan man himself.
What am I going to a lake for?
I don't know.
I don't know how to swim. You know what I mean? I'll go to a Lions game. I'll go to a Tigers game. I'll go to a Bears game. But I'm not going to go to no Ann Arbor, no lake, nothing. No.
That's got to be some content maybe we get into in the future. Like Kevin gets taught how to swim by the swimming and diving coach at U of A or something like that. Something just electric like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, only if I can do like the sea lion video where I'm just like up there like doing this and like slapping, I don't know, making noises. That'd be a vibe.
Sea lion impersonation video.
That's pretty much how I'm gonna look when I try to swim.
I'm getting Tusk flashbacks right now. If anyone has seen that movie where the guy gets made into the walrus.
Oh God, yeah. Dude, I watched that new Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein last night and this morning. Ooh, that was a good movie. But Damon, that was our shots fired.
It was.
Shout out to our friends over at Three Amigos Tequila. That Ramona's Reserve, man. The three S's. Sweet, spiced, and smooth. You know the drill. Shout out to Three Amigos. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the Arizona Wildcats, Damon. We have a game here in about 10 minutes tipping off.
Let me ask you a question, Kevin.
Go ahead.
Is this spread moving down scaring you at all? Because if you look on most sports books, it opened up at like around 8.5. It has since got brought down to, as I speak right now, I believe to 6.5 on most sports books. Bet365 still has it at 7 in particular. But is that in any way, shape, or form maybe worrying you?
No. I think it's one of those things where if I was a casual fan, like if I was a non-involved Arizona participant here, I'm probably looking at this matchup saying TCU at home, Michigan just went down, it's in the air. This is like an actual team that could beat Arizona if I talk myself into it. Sure, I'll throw 20 bones on TCU, right? I think that's kind of what's going on. If I were to guess, I don't think this is a situation like in the Holiday Bowl where the line drops dramatically pregame and then you find out that 3 players are not playing in the game and hence why the line has dropped. I don't think there's any like roster issues going on here. I would assume people are looking at it like a sleeper spot, like a trap game for the Wildcats, and they're trying to make some money off the back of it. But I don't think that's worrying me in the slightest. Is it worrying you at all?
I mean, I think it just tells me that this game is going to be competitive. And I didn't even check the over-under when we went ahead and did our score predictions, which we'll get to here in a second. But I was expecting a little bit of a more lower scoring game from the Arizona side of things going into this one, just because I was like, even if the Wildcats win, which spoiler alert, prediction time, we'll get to that, but Kevin and I both have Arizona W's. I do think that this one is going to look less like dominant, I guess, than maybe some of these other wins have, where Arizona's putting up close to triple digits, putting up 103 points, 98 points, somewhere in that realm. I think this one's going to be more in the 80s. I think we're looking at somewhere in the 80s scoring output, and that gives TCU a bit of a chance. I mean, I still think that Arizona is the clear-cut favorite and should win this basketball game, but I do think that by that lower scoring total, like you'll give TCU at home a shot if they play an efficient offensive game. And if it really, as we've talked about with playing Arizona, like if you have elite shot making in this game, you got to be able to hit some mid-range jumpers. You got to be able to hit some shots that are maybe more inefficient, quote unquote, inefficient shots, because that's what Arizona's giving you. And so they have to make the best of those opportunities. And so I think this one will be closer than usual. I do think that this one is a potential loss for the first time here, maybe since that Alabama game, that I've really felt that way. But yeah, this is an interesting matchup for sure. And I feel like, even if Arizona it does win pretty handily tonight, I think we're going to learn a lot about what this team looks like against legit Big 12 competition in this game.
Well said. We're going to get to our predictions before this game tips off. But before we do that, how is Arizona going to get this W? I have some keys to a victory here today. Key number 1, take advantage of the size and strength gap between these two teams that you have with Arizona and TCU. And what does that look like? It means rebounding the hell out of the ball, and it means feeding Krivas in the paint. It means that every offensive possession you have, you should be getting 2 feet in the paint, and if it's a kick out, fine. If it's a bucket, even better. You need to take advantage of that and pound the paint on both sides of the court. Key number 2, ball movement and player movement. We talked about this yesterday on the pod. TCU is really, really poor at stopping other teams from getting buckets off of assists. We found out that if you can move the ball against TCU, oftentimes you can score the ball against TCU. Opponents have a Big 12 worst, or I guess Big 12 best, 61.1% assist rate against TCU, which places them 16th in the Big 12 in that category, averaging 14.5 assists per game are TCU opponents. So, Jaden Bradley, Brayden Burries, Anthony Dell'Orso, Ivan Kharchenkov, anybody who is being trusted to handle the ball often in this game should be moving the ball often in this game. And off the ball, we saw this cost K-State probably 10 to 15 points in that game against Arizona. Backdoor cuts, whether it be Brayden Burries, whether it be Peat, whether it be Ivan Kharchenkov, Dwayne Aristode, cutting off the ball is going to be key in this one as well. Key number 3, I want 20 plus from Ivan, Deli, and Aristode combined. You got that against Florida. You got that against Utah. You need it on the road from your guys that are not your, let's just say, number 1 options, right? Like Ivan Kharchenkov is becoming the number 1 option probably on defense potentially, but on offense he is still a border contributor in my opinion on the margins, right? Anthony Dell'Orso has been slumping to say the very least from with shots perspective, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see Ivan go for 12 in this game, Deli go for 10, and maybe Aristode chips in 5 points there as well. Get your 20 plus from that that trio there. Damon, what do you think about my keys?
I love them, Kevin. I think that especially in these more competitive games, those peripheral scorers, the Kharchenkovs, the Dell'Orsos, the Aristodes of the world will have to step up, right? Because majority of the focus I'm sure is going to be on specifically the paint, the paint defense. Yeah. Peat, Mo Krivas, Tobe Awaka getting rebounds, getting second chance opportunities. Jaden Bradley, a little bit more of a seasoned scorer in the paint and, taking layups in rather than taking jump shots, right? So I think that that's going to be the plan of attack on Arizona's side thing is collapse the paint. And what does that do? It leads to open shots for the guys who are on the perimeter. And I think that, maybe outside of Brayden Burries, those are the three guys who are the 3-point shooters on this team. So I agree. I think that you're going to need some shots tonight out of those guys when they get their opportunities. I love that key personally.
I also want to mention before we get to our score predictions, before I forget to get too caught up in the hype and the hoopla of this road matchup, we got a bit of a doubleheader today. Arizona women's basketball is home at McHale, taking on UCF at the same time, 2 p.m. So make sure to tap in with that one. Big news as Mickey Purdue is out with injury for this game. And as Erica Day's reporting 42 seconds ago, Purdue has a brace on her right hand right now. So that is not ideal for the senior guard for Arizona, nor is it ideal for Becky Burke's hopes of getting her second Big 12 win. Not impossible, though. They're a bunch of dogs on the women's basketball side of things. So make sure to be dual screening it. Arizona on one screen, the men's side, Arizona women's side on the other screen. Just don't forget that game's going on. Shall we get to our score predictions today?
Let's go ahead and do it, Kevin. Why don't you start us off with what you think is going to happen tonight?
As you alluded to, a little bit of a lower scoring contest by Arizona standards. Arizona 86, TCU 78. TCU keeps it close, keeps it tough, keeps it physical, but Arizona just too tough, too strong, too skilled, and they get the win.
I agree, Kevin. I think this team is just too good to lose to a team the caliber of TCU. Could be wrong in saying that. I think TCU is a good squad, a tournament team even, but I just think that Arizona is, even in playing, I don't expect this to be the cleanest of games for Arizona tonight. I think we've been on a run where we're somewhat due for maybe a little bit of a slip up, but I just think that this team is built for even when you slip up, even when you're not shooting well or not playing your A game, you still end up winning because you're bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic, better at rebounding, and you get more possessions than every single opponent you play. I think Arizona out-rebounds TCU by like 20 tonight, Kevin, and I think that drives the Arizona Wildcats to victory, despite what maybe could be a lesser offensive output from the offense tonight.
There you have it. That is our preview of this Arizona versus TCU game. Make sure to tap in with the AZ Wildcats post-game pod about 10 to 15 after this game wraps up. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. I guess I'm doing the outro. He is at Damon Dog, and I am at Kevo Post for all of our takes during the game.
Good for you to finally do something around here, Kevin. Jeez.
I got it. I'll pick up the slack. You can follow our pod and all of our takes as a combined brain at PHNX_Wildcats on Twitter and on TikTok at AZ Wildcats Pod. Shout out to 10 Toes Down Media. Later, boys. And until next time, peace out, bear down.
And go Cats.
We all silly like the mayor.